Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. This is Capo Daniel. Welcome to the Ambazonian Communication Network. And because we are going to be streaming this particular presentation live on our television. I will take some minutes so that our technical staff should read the link from my YouTube and connect it directly to the live screening for the live broadcast on ACN television. So just give me a moment. Read the link from my. I want to confirm that we are live on the television, and then we'll continue. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow countrymen, we are at war, and our people are grappling with the effects of war and also the effects of ego and just sheer stupidity. I will just wait for a while while I'm waiting for the confirmation from our technical team. Once we are live on the television, then we'll start the presentation. So all man for Ambazonia, una welcome. Thank una for open una television for allow me for come for talk for una house today for bring una update about what really happen across Ambazonia and across our national territory. So I go to delay small while I wait me then connect with ACN television because this one it could be in a live broadcast for Ground Zero and across the globe for all man way to watch our TV, the ACN, whether you watch them for your mobile device or for your computer or for your television, you go to watch them live. So I'll wait for the confirmation and then we go start. Okay, we are live now. Greetings, fellow Ambazonians. Welcome to the Ambazonian Communication Network. My name's Dong Emmanuel. I go by the name Capo Daniel. I am the Deputy Defense Chief of the Ambazonian Defense Forces, and I am the spokesman of the Ambazonian Governing Council. Today we have a very special edition of our presentation through our communication network. So this is an official communication from the Ambazonian Governing Council on the ground as well as on the diaspora. I have to make this distinction for our people to know. So if you are watching me in Boya, in Kumba, Mutengene, in Baye, Baipana, you are all welcome. I want to welcome all those who are watching me in Kumbu, those who are watching me in Atiela, those who are watching me across Ambazonia, and Ambazonians who are out of the country. You are all welcome to this particular edition. So you are welcome. Today, I want to give you an update as we get into day 2 of active school opening of Ambazonian Community School across our national territory. We have had some incident of the Lele Afrique, the chief Cameroon terrorists who have visited GBH's downtown. We'll update you about that one and what it means and how Cameroon have been completely defeated. Let me adjust my chart. So let's go. Fellow Ambazonians, what we have witnessed in Ground Zero are acts of crimes against Ambazonia in Ekona, in Kumbaboya Road, and also in my 6 Nkwen, in Bamenda. I have told you that we are investigating the matter. When we identify the perpetrators of these crimes, we are going to identify them to you. And finally, the identification have come, and we have seen that the forces of Alaji, I want to call it Alaji of Seven Kata, because Seven Kata have different powers of centers. You also have their supreme commander there, who is now General Tiger. We have not seen General Tiger involve himself in this madness. And we have had a meeting with the leadership of the Seven Kata before coming up, a representative, not the whole group of Seven Kata coming up. You have some of them who are representing the Seven Kata in the CDN, and some of them who are also playing their power game. And this is unacceptable. The conduct we are seeing of Seven Kata and the justification of what they are doing. We have also seen the paper group of Magbarata called themselves SCAF. These are a group of failed Ambazonian activists who are unable to gather a following for themselves or able to articulate or advocate for Ambazonian self-determination in any significant manner. These are people suffering from popular deficiency syndrome that they have decided to go and attach themselves to Magbarata, who wants to surround himself with these individuals, failed activists, to get some relevance. We have seen they have put out a statement that have been provided to us by Ashu Kingsley, saying that they support this unjustified lockdown. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you updates from the ground, and I'm going to provide to you analysis and a position of the governing council and my own opinion on certain instances of what is happening. But I want to tell you that we have seen the defeat, first of all, of Cameroon on the ground, which is our main focus. Cameroon is our primary enemy. Cameroon is the enemy of Ambazonia. Cameroon is responsible for the chaos of war as a result of the occupation of Ambazonia. Cameroon is ultimately responsible for some acts that have been committed by Ambazonian fighters who have been influenced by Cameroon intelligence network. I use the word Atanganji boys as a language for our people to understand, who are majority of them are speaking Pidgin Standard English and not the British or American Standard English. So for that purpose, I will use the word Atanganji Po to describe Cameroon intelligence network. So ladies and gentlemen, Cameroon have been completely defeated. The Cameroon state have come out to use education as a means to indoctrinate our people. For the past years that we have been with the state of Cameroon, the Cameroon government have systematically destroyed the educational system that we used to have in Ambazonia. Right during the time we were in Nigeria, during the time that we were a province in Nigeria and being separated from Nigeria, we have inherited a wonderful educational system. And the system of Cameroon have made education useless. It is a system where people go to school just to pass exams and have certificates. And now with the corrupt nature of the colonial administration, it is actually more easier for people to print their own certificates than to go and suffer in school, pay school fees and learn to attain a certificate. So they are not after knowledge, because it's a colonial system that is meant to exploit Africans. And worse off, they subjugated Cameroonians subjugating Ambazonians. So we are at the far end of the food chain in this colonial system that is being exploited and used by France. Cameroon is also exploiting us. So for these years, education have become useless. Our people who have gone to university have come out to drive Bensikin. They have no jobs. Ambazonians have struggled even within the colonial state to fight for her own education managed by her own professionals that will focus on educating our people and giving them a competitive educational level of attainment, of achievement. That is what brought this struggle to the forefront of the population and the mainstream of Ambazonia. We saw Digintasang Wilfred, who was an elected member by the Parents Teachers Association and the teachers in Ambazonia to represent them, who have declared a boycott of schools. Because that education system did not save us. Our people today, because we are now fighting for self-determination and independence, we have now banned Cameroon education in Ambazonia and banned Cameroon government schools in particular. At the same time, we have a responsibility, as we carry on the responsibility of our community, of our country, Ambazonia, to also provide education to our children and our people as a matter of human right. That is a responsible thing to do, and that reflects our desire to serve our people and to liberate them from Cameroon. The Ambazonian Governing Council, amongst other factions within the Ambazonian struggle, have championed the advocacy for the opening of community school. We have worked very hard to open community school by ourselves. We have currently opened 8 community schools that in areas that previously did not even have schools, not even during the time of the Cameroon state, or the time of West Cameroon, or the time of our territory being in Nigeria. So we have opened 8 schools from areas where they did not exist schools. We have worked with other forces to open 4 schools within areas that are controlled by other forces. we have authorized the opening of more than 280 community schools. That includes private proprietor-owned schools and schools owned by religious authorities and religious organizations such as the Catholic Church, the Presbyterian Church, the Baptist Church, and the Full Gospel Church. And now with one other church, which it will be so obvious to identify that school, so I wouldn't give the name of the other religious institutions. Because we have now liberated 80% of our country and we control actively 30% of those liberated space, and the remaining 70% of those liberated space still have pockets of Cameroon military presence, that they have the Cameroon barracks. But we have eliminated Cameroon administrators in these areas. So these areas, we have made the case to the international community that Cameroon, even on a side negotiation while the war goes on, should temporarily allow our own Ambazonian communities to open their schools. That will be apolitical. Let our religious authorities, let our private individuals open neutral school where our students could be taught under Ambazonians guidelines, because we are the only ones who can administer that areas, because Cameroon cannot put its administrators in those areas. This is reasonable. The president of the governing council have put out statement to this effect. The Ambazonian Education Board of the Ambazonian Governing Council that have taken leadership of this issue have also put out statement to this effect. This is what we have been pushing for. For the past 3 years, we have been ashamed to see our own children carrying their things to go into neighboring Cameroon to educate themselves. It has been an embarrassment. It has even undercut our case that Cameroon is committing genocide, which they are in Ambazonia. Cameroon enablers and collaborators such as Agbobala have made the case that because Ambazonians are going into La Republique to study, we cannot be claiming that this is a genocide. Finally, that his empty argument that have no bearings at all have been put to waste, as Ambazonians are now reaping the fruit of our hard labor in building community schools. We have had a reverse of Ambazonian. Instead of moving into La Republique during school reopening in September, are now returning from La Republique to attend community schools in Ambazonia. This is a big victory. Cameroon government, in her effort to force our schools and community schools and religious schools and private schools to open under their authority and under their directive, have failed. The Cameroon government have tried for the past 3 years to push the narrative within the corridors of diplomacy that the Ambazonian liberation movement is a one that has banned education as a whole, and which is a crime against humanity to ban education, even during wartime. That was a lie, because for these past 3 years, we did not blanketly ban education. We banned Cameroon government schools, and we have taken the responsibility to provide an alternative for our people, opening community school and authorizing the creation of community school by individuals of the private sector. Cameroon finally have been defeated because that their narrative have crashed. The world can clearly see by Cameroon banning 90% of schools in writing with a presidential degree in Boyo, which is what they have been doing across Ambazonia, that indeed it is not Ambazonia that do not want to educate our children. It is Cameroon that is fighting against Ambazonian education. Because even those schools have official registration documents with the Cameroon state, but because they are opening up under Ambazonian guidelines, Cameroon sees it as a defeat and they are trying to destroy that education. In Bamenda, we have banned students from using uniforms and banned Cameroon government schools. The only 2 Cameroon government schools that the Cameroon government, under heavily guarded situations, could open, the students still could not bring in the uniform in accordance with the Cameroon directive. As you can see from the publication, from the visit of one of those schools, you can see it is highly militarized. And from a newspaper publication made by, I think it's Mimi Mefo, sorry, I want to bring up that image. It does not appear in my slot. I apologize for that. Okay. So you can clearly see that the Cameroon government school that was visited by the Lele Afrique, the colonial terrorists in chief, all of the students there are not putting on Cameroon government uniforms as directed by the state of Cameroon. This is clear demonstration of defeat. The Cameroon government insists on giving our children flags, which they refused, and it was not accepted according to their will. From the newspaper publication by Mimi Mefo, you can see that the parents of the students, they protested their children from being used by Cameroon for propaganda because they don't want Cameroon flag. According to publication by newspapers, it also states that even the teachers in those schools rejected and fought with Cameroon gendarmes who were fighting to hoist Cameroon flag in those Cameroon government schools that have Cameroon base. This is to show you that our population have rejected Cameroon. And it is very clear that during this period when the United Nations General Assembly will be taking place, we know that officially Ambazonia does not feature on the official agenda of the General Assembly, but we know that our issue will be tackled in the forums that will be taking place on the sideline. And we have done very well to provide information and provide material for our international partners and sympathizers to make sure that the case for Ambazonia is not left out, but it is presented in a meaningful way that can make the world to understand our plight. So Ambazonia, we have a big opportunity to demonstrate to the world that Ambazonia wants Ambazonian education. We don't just want anything to do with Cameroon. We have banned Cameroon education. As we fight to establish these facts internationally, as we have done for the past year, as we gear up to celebrate our Independence Day that is coming on the 1st of October, to showcase to the world our students, our nationalism and expression of our nationalism as it will be demonstrated on ground zero. Some Ambazonians have fallen prey to Cameroon intelligence trick that they are using false flag to sabotage our action. Atangi Paul have instigated the calling of a lockdown that is not justified naturally by Ambazonians fighters or the factions that are calling for this lockdown. As usual, terrorism tactics, crimes against our people have been committed by this group of individuals who are running racketeers and cartels in the name of Ambazonia. They don't represent Ambazonia mainstream, and they have been rejected by Ambazonia because they are definitely under the influence of La République du Cameroon. Their activity on the ground proves that they are working not for the people, but they are working for political interests that have been exploited by Atangi Paul and their network of intelligence that misrepresent themselves as sponsors of Ambazonia self-defense. I'm going to take you now to ground zero and show you what is going on to update you with the pictures and videos in Ambazonia. But first, I want to show you in Bamenda. Bamenda is the flagship of Ambazonia. Bamenda is the capital of our resistance. Bamenda have kept the resistance alive and inspired the whole of Ambazonia, Boya, Victoria. And more remarkably, I want to show you the images that came in from Victoria. The people of Victoria, on Monday, the 5th of this month, stayed at home to observe the ghost town in a very significant manner. And we want to congratulate the people of Victoria that have shown their political consciousness against Cameroon manipulation, that have seek to define Ambazonia issue as something that is limited to one area and not another. This is a clear demonstration that despite Victoria hosting the biggest military base of the enemy, the people stand to as one people all over Ambazonian territory to express our nationalism and our desire for complete decolonization of our territory. So now I want to show you, before we go to the bad stuff, let me bring you the good news that following our instructions, our people in the capital city of Bamenda, which is an example of Ambazonian Governing Council leadership, as we have told you before, The Ambazonian Defense Forces are in charge and are in control in Bamenda, the capital of our resistance. Bamenda alone have registered 70% of the fighting for our liberation last year, according to international security experts who pick up activities of fighting across the globe. So in Bamenda, more than half of the fight against Cameroon takes place in Bamenda under our leadership and under our forces. The discipline of our forces, their understanding of the politics of the day, and the following of our chain of command that have told all of them to stay in their barracks have demonstrated that indeed it is the ADF, the Bamenda Brigade, that rules Bamenda for Ambazonia. The Ambazonian Governing Council rules Bamenda. That's why, despite the noise around Bamenda, the calling of a counterproductive and unjustified lockdown, Bamenda remained open, our community schools remained open, and our people went out for business. Even the Cameroon state that deployed a tank to intimidate our people like they have done before, that they used to use these tactics to enforce counterproductive lockdown as a means to fighting against Ambazonian independence. It did not work. Our people braved the odds, followed our instructions and guidelines, and went out to carry out their day-to-day activities. So this is Bamenda on the 7th, day 2 of school opening of our community school. These are video footages from Chemist Roundabout. You can see even soya people are opening up. This type of businesses, you see, buy and sell, and this small scale business are really indicative that the people of Bamenda, they are following our guidelines to open their doors and not to accept any unnecessary and unjustified lockdown in our town. Excessive use of lockdown is counterproductive. You can see Hospital Roundabout. I'm going to give you a tour of the town. Even soya places are open, which shows that the lockdown have been rejected in Bamenda. The people have rejected it because we have told them to reject it. It is not justifiable. The people knows it is not justifiable, and they are going about their day-to-day life despite the threats. If you go downtown, in many places in Bamenda, I'll also take you to community schools to see how students have come to our community school. This is Agnes. It's a community school. You can see students, parents bringing their children to school, following our guidelines without uniform, walking them to our community school. It is safe because our soldiers have kept it safe. It is safe because they are doing the right thing under Ambazonian guidelines. Cameroon is the only loser here, and their agents. So this is in Sonak Street, in St. Agnes. You can see our parents bringing their children to school. Bamenda is open. Our capital of resistance is strong. We are in total control for Ambazonia. In other part, in main market in Bamenda, you can see our main market is open. They call us and consult and ask if they should open the door. I told them, yes, open the market. The governing council have authorized it. Our Bentikin people, they went out to do their shopping. Our people, they were able to shop, go about their life. We are not fighting to impose chaos on our people. We are fighting to liberate them in a sensible manner with the least possible cost, financially and psychologically, to our people. So everybody was out on the street. Even vehicles. There was a remarkable return of people back from Douala and Yaoundé. So you have more buses that are coming in from Douala and Yaoundé that are full than buses that are leaving Bamenda. Last year, by this same time, buses that were leaving Bamenda, people had to pay 1 week before time before they could have space. But this time, the spaces are there. There are less people moving out of Bamenda, more people coming into Bamenda. It is the same across Ambazonia. More people are moving into Fundong. More people are moving into Ginikom. They are moving into Bui. They are moving into Fako, Meme. They are returning back in liberated area to work in accordance with Ambazonia guidelines. And Cameroon doesn't want this. Cameroon wants to sabotage it because they want our people to remain in Cameroon and be paying school fees, be empowering their economy as they have been doing for the past 3 years. So if you go down to you can go down to Hospital Roundabout there. As you see, soya people are out there. Soya, when soya, they burn soya, then you know, say people are in for the long run. So today will be the same thing. As you can see, our people opening up And we are not fighting to put chaos. Some failed activists who don't know their left to right, who cannot even tell the history of Ambazonia, who cannot even articulate or advocate for Ambazonia effectively, have give our people the impression over the past years that activism or war is noise. Say, hey, place near the hot, place near the hot. And our people are associating some type of regular life within Ambazonia control like there's no war or we are not winning. No. We are not fighting to put chaos. We are fighting to bring order. And our fight is targeted against Cameroon military and their officials. And that is how we have to win. That is the only sustainable way to fight a war. You cannot fight war by pushing people to make noise. No. You fight them to organize proper military operations that kicks out the enemy. So, while our people in Ambazonian Governing Council controlled areas were living the life and demonstrating to the world that we have defeated La Republique, the Ambazonians fighters who were members of the ARF, so-called members of the ARF, you know, my country people, there is a statement that one observer who is a veteran of Ambazonia have sent me a message. Let me read the observation he sent to me. He says, Capo Daniel, do not forget that well before the war, well before Ambazonian struggle started, there were thieves, armed robbers, all sorts of criminals in our society. This war have provided such criminals a convenient umbrella to hide under, called the ARF, and practice their trade. It is so easy, so convenient to pass for an Ambazonian fighter when indeed one is a hardcore criminal. Awareness, eye-opener, education, vigilance are the key. And this is very important. That is why the ADF and the Governing Council did not just launch a war of liberation, but we actually took time to go on ground zero. Not that we were from abroad. We were from ground zero, born in ground zero, bred in ground zero, went through colonization and torture. And we came out and we tried diplomacy and we learned. We went back to ground zero, recruited soldiers, trained them, and give them discipline and a code of conduct. Arm them and deploy them. And make sure we use these same soldiers to be the leadership that will recruit other soldiers and train them before we can give them endorsement. So the other IG groups who believe in using middlemen to pay soldiers to fight for them have fallen prey to have hardened criminals be elevated to project stupidity and be prone to Cameroon manipulation to be used against our own people. If it was not the job of the Governing Council in diplomacy as well as in communication to counter some criminal activities done by these so-called ARFs, Ambazonian struggle could have been finished. Only the kidnapping alone that was coming from Bafut in Bamenda, in Bamenda, could have made this struggle to die, because the Cameroon government would have easily used our population to overpower the soldiers as they had tried and failed. The only reason Cameroon failed was because we stood our ground to caution these boys and fight against kidnapping for ransom, setting up an anti-kidnapping squad that guarantees our people that there is some order and there is hope in the forces. Without our activities, Ambazonian struggle would be dead. Today, the same hoodlums, the same criminals are turning guns against our innocent civilians to kill them. And they have the guts to accuse those who are opposing the lockdown for their criminal activity. And some idiot called Mark Barata, Ashu Kingsley, failed activists who cannot articulate ABC. They sit in their WhatsApp chat group with a bunch of active so-called activists who are unable to articulate anything Ambazonia or gain even a followership. They want to hide behind their backs. They put out statement that they are supporting a lockdown that is not justified. Well, before I bring you these images that are coming out from Ambazonia, I want to tell you something. We are Ambazonians. We are fighting for our country. We should never use it for political or partisanship. It is forbidden in the Governing Council for us to do that. Less than a month ago, our general on the ground, our forces on the ground, our commanders on the ground, having receiving our program for liberation in line with the policies of the Governing Council, came up with an operation that is titled Operation Sunrise, that was supposed to bring Ambazonian fighters all across our territory, because we have been able, with our outreach for reconciliation, bring some environment where we can cooperate and move across territories. This Operation Sunshine was the reason why they declared 1 month lockdown. The Ambazonian Governing Council, we are not criticizing other people just because we want to be partisan, or it's because it is not us. No. When our generals, they declare 1 month lockdown and it was announced, the message was released, we came out, we tell our people that we are going to talk to them. They had a meeting, the Defense Department had a meeting with the Governing Council, and they said, show us, what do you want to do for 1 month? How? Justify this lockdown. And they said, we have an operation that is going to last for 1 week. And the Governing Council said, you cannot declare 1 month lockdown for a 1 week operation. And the operation, the Governing Council says that we are going to review this thing after the 1 month. And the decision finally came from the President of the Governing Council that says that even the announcement itself is wrong, because people will be nervous. To stay for lockdown for 1 month will just make people to go crazy. And it was reversed. So we announced a 1 week lockdown for a military operation that is meant to show the world that Ambazonia is in charge. We were supposed to take over the entire Bamenda, set up roadblocks and mount them for 1 week with hundreds of, I cannot give you the specific number, almost thousands of soldiers. That would have shown the whole world that when Pobia is telling them that the war is over, the war is indeed real. That we are also capable of providing law and order and mounting checkpoints, because these are very important criteria before you want to attract recognition. So the lockdown that was declared by the Hague of Sea was justified. And there are proof that we were not just making propaganda. We lost 11 soldiers that had moved into our mother base across Ambazonia. 4 of them which have been named, which were coming from Mbui. We had soldiers that came from Dian, Meme, all over Ambazonia. Even our enemies, they testified. So we don't declare lockdown for political reasons or just to show power within Ambazonian context. We did it, it was justified lockdown. Even when that lockdown was disobeyed, our soldiers rough-handed people on the ground. And we had told them, you cannot kill a civilian because he disobeyed lockdown order. You must be proportional in your actions. There are actions you can take when people disobey order, civil order. Sometimes it may be necessary to use corporal punishment. It may be necessary sometimes to seize property and to destroy property. But you cannot use live bullet and kill another Ambazonian because they refuse a civil order. That will be a crime against our people, and internationally it can amount up to the crime of terrorism. You cannot commit terrorism against your own people. You cannot do to our people what La Republique is doing to them. Because even La Republique du Cameroon military cannot do what they are doing to their own citizens. So you cannot claim that you love our people and you are willing to use live bullet on them for refusing a civil authority or a civil order. Disproportionate use of force is illegal. It's a war crime. And we have educated our forces and we have campaigned along that line to educate Ambazonians that you can never use disproportionate use of force or beheading of civilians, cutting off the hands of civilians, like Eric Tato was preaching with his Gary process. That is why we rejected Gary process. There are certain things that we can tolerate or understand if it is done against blacklegs or what people will call spies who have actually enabled Cameroon military operation by physical participation in providing intelligence and collaborating with the Cameroon army. In the case of blacklegs, there are certain force that can be used that could be understandable or that can be justified. But you cannot use lethal or disproportionate force against civilians and then you claim you are fighting for them. You are not fighting for them. So the first video I want to show you that is coming out from these other groups, they should know that they don't control Ambazonia. They have their areas where they control and they dominate. Let them focus on those areas and lock those areas. The areas we focus will be functioning according to our directives. And when our people see that things are reasonable, even if they are not our directive, we will advise them and they will follow it. But we will not allow ourselves to follow stupidity just to please others. And these idiots, they want to even blame us for their crimes. No doubt, most of them are compromised, and the people who support them are compromised. Tomorrow, they are the same people who are blaming Ambazonian resistance for Cameroon atrocity. They don't have any logic or principle that can help them to prosecute a war. These people are stupid and empty-headed, including Mark Barata and all those who call themselves the SCAF members. They are empty-headed. They are not competent. Empty-head, ngongong head. If you can blame Ambazonians who reject an unjustified lockdown for the acts of terrorism in a corner, for the act of terrorism in my 6 acts against Ambazonia, then why would you not be able to do the same logic with La Republic? That is why we say you are compromised. That is why they think that you are the same with Padilla Sanga and Kunyam Titus, who have advocated that our civilians should be killed, that Cameroon should use collective punishment against our general public, and go after family members of fighters and activists and supporters of the struggle, and advocate for self-defense and self-determination. They have prescribed that Cameroon government should kill them, use lethal force. Those are crimes against humanity. They have asked for extrajudicial killing and execution of soldiers on site and even civilians. So if you call yourself SCAF, you call yourself Mark Barata, you call yourself Ashu Kingsley, you call yourself Christina Obini, you call yourself Dr. Carson Anyangwe, you call yourself your IG member, you call yourself Chris Anu, you call yourself Marianta, even Ginny. I'm shocked, Ginny, who used to be my schoolmate in BHS. If you people, you can justify terrorism, justify that soldiers should open fire and kill people in a civilian vehicle, knowing very well that they are all civilian. 16 of them murdered in Boyakumba Road, try to protect Ambazonian against Cameroon terrorism. You cannot be contradictory in your principle. If we are standing up that Cameroon is killing our innocent civilians because they were using peace plans, because in the eyes of the Cameroon troops, they were just resisting Cameroon rule. If that was wrong, really to you, you would not justify the same thing on Ambazonia. That means you are the same with La Republic. If there is no difference, then why are we struggling to fight to break out? For us, in the governing council and the people who are advocating for self-defense, self-determination for the governing council, is because we are truly aggrieved, we are truly wrong, and our sense of dignity and national pride dictates that when people are being attacked, especially by foreign force, unjustifiably using excessive force, then we have the right to defend ourselves. That is why we are advocating for self-defense. So if you do not have this belief system or this principle, you are not driven by this sense of injustice against our people, how then can you say that you are fighting for Ambazonia? No doubt Abobala can talk to you people. No doubt you people are talking in two mouths. These are a group of people that they sat quiet when over 80 our civilians were killed, murdered, slaughtered in Akwaya. They did not utter a single word. A justified lockdown call by the ADF on the ground, they did not support it. But an unjustified lockdown being enforced by force against the will of the people, using lethal force, committing act of criminalism, they are supporting it. And one of the fighters have the guts to call me from Mountain Lion and tell me, Capo Daniel, you see the people that were killed today because of you. So you go and kill innocent civilians because of Capo Daniel because we ask people to resist, to reject lockdown and go to community schools. You see your own mother, father, children, you take a gun, you open fire on them and killing them because they refuse a civil order. You are mad. Nothing can justify that. You are a criminal. You are committing a crime against our own people. If people like Capo Daniel did not stand and fight against such excesses, the international community, if not of Dr. Cho Ayaba in the diplomacy, in the corridor of diplomacy, if not of Akonsong Raymond, if not of Sheikh Kavi, if not of Lucas Asu, if not of Dr. Nyi, if not of our SS, Dr. Yamba, who fought to cry that please, you cannot do this to our own people, who explained to the international community that this group of people do not really represent the vast majority of us. The international community would have come down and support Cameroon militarily to end Ambazonian self-determination. It is because we stood up for Ambazonia. The same people don't know. They forget so soon that the Cameroon government have successfully used our people to rise up to fight against some Ambazonian camps. In Babanki, I was the one that the commander in Babanki, the ARF commander, called. And I asked him, you don't have anybody in the IG? He said he has never spoken to them for 1 year. And I helped him. I involved the ADF camp in Babanki, General Moses. Talk to the Takambangs, educate them, and expose the Cameroon tricks that were being used against these boys. And we overcame in Bui. The Bui people, Bui warriors, they killed even their own 14 soldiers. They lined them and killed them all. Because some Zamzams are allowing them to be susceptible from Cameroon. Who do you think is giving them that advice? Don't you know those Atangi poor boys advising them to kill Ambazonians? They killed 39 ADF fighters across the globe, across the territory. Foolishness. Let me take you to some of these areas, or this so-called ARF. The ones in Meme, today they here we make unity force in Mbui. They say, oh, we are unity force. Sako make ARF. Oh, we are ARF. We are this, we are that. We have united. The same group, how can you unite with yourself, the same people? If that does not show you that your IQ is so low, you are so dull, and you better shut the hell up and listen to sound advice before you drown the whole ship. Now, which kind barlock this? Now, which kind syndrome of Anglofools, Zamzams, that we cannot cure? Thank God our people have wised up against these idiots and are now following sound advice and sound guidelines. Thank God Cameroon have lost because your influence is done. And I'm very happy we did not see Sokadef General Transporter join those camps, not to target Ambazonian civilians, but to attack La République du Cameroon occupation forces.
The 7th of September 2022, General Transporter. General Transporter live, man for good. General Transporter live, man for good. General Transporter.
So we salute General Transporter for his bravery and for him not to engage the Sokadef. We salute General Ebenezer Akwanga and the leadership of the Sokadef and the APLM for advising General Transporter to remain in line with the political leadership. A soldier without a political leadership is a criminal. All over the world, every soldier without a political leadership is a criminal. Soldiers with bad political leadership will become criminals, like you see in La République. So, let me show you what some Ambazonian fighters have gotten themselves into by following advice that are being generated by Tanganji Paul. We'll start from this one in Bafut, where the forces of Bafut 7 Kata. No, let me first start in Bui. Let me start in Bui. The areas in Bui under ADF control, under governing council control, are going on life normal. But in some areas that are dominated by forces of the splinter Bui warrior, They are not Mad Dog, you don't speak for the Bui Unity Warrior because the ADF is an equal partner. So stop using the name Bui Unity Warrior. You don't speak for Bui Unity Warrior. Let me tell you that. So this is a video from Bui.
Yes, now the Unity Warriors they stay for town.
So first of all, this is not the Bui Unity Warrior, because the Bui Unity Warrior is a joint group made up of the splinter Bui Warrior forces and the ADF Bui Brigade. There was no ADF Bui Brigade here. So this is not Unity Warrior. This is General Mad Dog. As his name says, Mad Dog. Listen to him.
They lock down. So they for town outside. Yes, check no day. The Unity Warriors. Like for inside Kumbo town. Yes. For sure say when we talk say when Ground Zero talk say lockdown, it means say lockdown. Yes, FM Bitacola. Now we spoke person for Ground Zero. Where if he talk say na so it day. Whether na mistake he talk, na so it day.
So if you need any evidence of stupidity, this is Mad Dog saying that their spokesman is Bitacola of Ground Zero Group. They call it Ground Zero Commanders Group. It does not mean that they actually represent Ground Zero. It is just a group. Just like the IG came and called themselves Government of Ambazonia. It does not mean that they are Government of Ambazonia. Just because you call your name Jesus or Good Man does not mean that you are a good man. So the name of this group is called Ground Zero Commanders and Generals. They are not Ground Zero. They don't represent all of Ground Zero Commanders and Generals. As you can see, Bamenda is working very well, and all areas under our control are working very well. They don't represent Sokadev. They don't represent all of Ambazonia. So this group that call themselves Ground Zero Commanders and Generals, they have nominated Bitacola. Bitacola was the main representative of Sok Foncha, who is now working with La Republique. These are the former group of the AMF. These are the AMF who have disguised themselves because nobody will accept them. There are two of their main brain. You have Ewane, who is in Konengi, and you have Njemaike, who is also in Konengi, who, because of their incompetence, they are where they are today. These are people, let me not go further because I don't want to compromise their security where they are. But these are incompetent people who have lured themselves, put themselves disponible for Cameroon manipulation. And they are there manipulating these people. So, Mad Dog, by himself, he said that whatever Bitacola said, even if it is a mistake, they will follow. What does that tell you? What they are doing does not have any reasoning. These are people, once you are in a position where you think that you will do anything, even if it is wrong, then you are lost. Nobody should do everything if it is wrong. If Dr. Choayaba asks us to jump, we cannot jump. We'll ask him why. So any soldier who don't have brain, like Mad Dog, that will do anything, have lost his brain. That is why they were killing their own. That is why they were used to kill ADF fighters that today they are together with in collaboration. Mad Dog, stop foolishness. Stop disgracing yourself. This lockdown, according to you, they told you that they were locking down because they want to stop school. Which school is there in Kumbu? You are stopping which school there now? Who is suffering there? Without knowledge, people die because of lack of knowledge. We will not allow Ambazonia to die because of your foolishness. Stay there and block the people, your own family people there in that Kumbu. The ADF area where we control, life will go ahead under our control while we fight La Republique. This is stupidity and evidence of stupidity. We are fighting against Cameroon government and Cameroon state, not against our own people or against ADF. Not because of ADF, not against ADF. From the information I heard from the fighters from Mountain Lions and even the one from Seven Kata, is all your motivation is that you want to fight against ADF. You are fighting for power. ADF is not fighting against you. We have allowed you in the areas you control, go and punish your people. You will reap the result by yourself. And when you commit your terrorism, it will be on your head. We will not cover up for you. Atlantic states. The first one is General Haji. of 7 Kata, they call him a diamond. If you remember, General Haji had made a video before. After committing so much kidnapping in Bafut, he decided to pretend that he's dead, make a fake video, and disappear in the scene. We all have hope that he will rehabilitate himself. Maybe because we criticize him, and then he becomes stubborn. But you have to know we criticize everybody. We criticize ourselves. If you cannot allow people to criticize you, if you don't have a big heart to be criticized, then you become like a terror. You become a terror to your people. Only dictators and terrorists like Paul Biya and the North Korea leader, they will ban free speech because they don't like people to challenge them. But if indeed you are fighting for a free Ambazonia, a democratic country, then allow yourself to be criticized. That is why one of the reasons I always engage with the guys in the Mountain Lions and the guys in Mavas, even the guys in 7 Kata, is that they keep on engaging even when they know that we criticize them. Even the guys in, anyway, all of them. But we must do what we do because we are not fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for our country. So this is Bafut, where General Ahaji, who was the chief kidnapper, he almost destroyed this struggle. This is the foolishness that John Ba Akoro, Mark Barata, Ashu Kingsley, and all those who for political reason are supporting this lockdown that is not justified. This is what they are supporting. When you say you support this lockdown, when you justify them and you give them blank card, you are comparable to their criminal actions against Ambazonia. That is not justified. You want to do things like this, you better be justified. Why are you blocking road? You want to stop school. From this location that I'm going to show you, there's a Cameroon government school, less than 5-minute walk. If your intention was to stop that Cameroon government school, why don't you go there and stop it? If your intention was to stop school, in Kumba, schools did not go because of they didn't need to lock down Kumba. We simply asked our soldiers there to call the teachers and talk to them. And they didn't go there. So listen, follow this one.
Yes. Now the motor than this for Bafut. Go stand no day again from Bafut. Today so no motor, no waka for Bafut. Yes, na pipe me. It's the road. He said from today so go stand 2 weeks. 2 weeks I don't stop. 2 weeks. I say no motor, no day again for Bafut. No motor, no day again for Bafut. Go stand slow. Na pipe me zoo. Alias dead man.
So now the person that way they talk for the video, ma put up a picture, make una see his face very well. So this one na Araji, General Alaji for 7 Kata. Now then 3 BB leader them for 7 Kata, they be them 4, we get Niba, we be the work with ADF. Niba be there we for contender force. But Bafut, like I talked, they not already get they like a conglomerate of different commanders. You get General Tiger, who is now the leader. He's supposed to be the leader of 7 Kata on the ground. Then you have Alaji, he also have his own soldiers who are loyal over him. And then you have the other general there, which I don't want, it's not necessary for me to put out their names. So these are the people that are doing this work. Who is Alaji? And why you should be very careful as an Ambazonian activist or a civilian to support anybody. Before you support anybody or take something that somebody is saying, you have to look at that person's intellect. Is that person have the IQ that is capable and competent to make decisions for public interest? Is that person on the right mindset? Is he in a location where he is actually safe to make those decisions and have research work and have time to study before he does it? That's why we have a leadership abroad and a leadership on the ground. So who is Alaji? If you don't remember Alaji, let me remind you back, and then you know what these people are really trying to do. These are people who don't want education at all. They don't want Ambazonia to have schools. That is why they are opposing the community schools that we are setting up. That's why they burned PSS Mancon. Despite the fact that these schools are going on under Ambazonian authority and guidelines. What wickedness is this? What wickedness is this? What stupidity is this? For the past 3 years, in diplomacy, we have been struggling to convince the Germans the Swedish, the British, the Japanese, the Americans. We have had meetings with over 8 different countries for the past 3 years to explain to them that we don't want Cameroon government schools. We want Ambazonian community schools. And they could not believe us because the Cameroon government was providing counter materials from the ground, from idiots like this, to say that Ambazonians are just fighting against education. And nobody can accept that. It is not acceptable. Even our own population will resist. It doesn't make sense because we can provide an alternative, which we have. So let me show you who is General Haji of 7 Kata, so that you know when you support him, and the leadership of 7 Kata should know when they allow somebody like this to take the lead. This is 7 Kata. This is a presentation that was done by, I hope I didn't I hope I had transferred that video. Seems I have not. I would like to do it now. It's very important that you watch this video. I want you to show you 7 Kata. This is a presentation done by Al Jazeera. Okay. You have to pardon me and you have to wait. Wait for this one. I'm sorry I did not transfer all the video. Okay. So this will take just 2 seconds. Okay. It has been downloaded. Hold on a minute. Okay. Transfer here. Okay. There we go. So let me show you who is Alaji. The Alaji of the 7 Kata. The Alaji who was a restoration force. Who is he? This is 7 Kata. This Alaji in 7 Kata.
If any motor say I'm born from today.
So this is 7 Kata. This is Al Jazeera. This is a presentation of Al Jazeera. When General Alaji, he went to PSS Mancon and kidnapped 78 students.
They have taken students from different dormitories, both boys and girls, to the number of 79 students with the 3 teachers, giving a total of 82.
So at the time when Alaji kidnapped these students in PSS Mancon, we all as a struggle, it was Eric Tato who came out and announced it that General Alaji have kidnapped these students. We all as Ambazonians, we came out to say that it was not General Kata, it was not a General Ahaji. We tried to cover up it. Tapang Aibo even came and provided a name for Ambazonians, for a La Republic military man to say that that was a person who kidnapped it. It did not stop because we lied. It did not stop because we lied. We tried to cover up its crime. The international community was given full access and they investigated what happened, including Al Jazeera. Alaji did not only kidnap the students, he made videos with them that actually claimed that Ambazonians, you can imagine how stupid the person could be, that it was Ambazonians who have arrested students because they don't want schools. He went ahead and made a video of himself with those children. Let me allow you to watch this particular thing.
Classes are still there on the ground. Then in the dormitories, without fright, some of the students started packing their belongings. And in the boys' dormitory, 2 doors were...
No. Why?
Because there's a crisis going on.
And the crisis is going on, and they, when
when I like to go school.
Despite what happened here.
So this action made La Republique to even
The
look
boys' dormitory too.
what Alaji did had a potential to end the Ambazonian war for freedom, because it was almost similar to what Boko Haram did in the Chibok girls. To the eyes of the international community, this could have destroyed our liberation movement. You cannot go and kidnap students mass like that, torture them and keep them in forests. You think that you are fighting against school? No. You can't do things like this. And we work very hard to explain and educate to our people the right way to do things. The right way was to replace these schools, and the issue we had with these schools was that they were working, allowing their children to go and participate in 11 February and 20th May, and allowing Cameroon to use them as propaganda. But if they could dissociate themselves with Cameroon and open under our authority and our directive, then there will be no problem. The international community will actually see it as a plus. And by the way, the presence of the colonial administrators there in Ambazonia, like Dr. Chuayaba have articulated, is not about our own teachers. It's about the Cameroon administrations being in our territory. So we don't have to just kill our people or fight our people foolishly. What we have to do is kick out the Cameroon administrators and their military, take over the symbols, and administer our own, like what we are doing with Kamwata, what we are doing with all the companies in Bamenda, that you have seen us replacing the normal plate. That is what we can do. We are not fighting against normalcy. We are fighting for Ambazonian normalcy. We are not fighting against education. We are fighting against Cameroon education. We should be clear about that. And schools that respect Ambazonian authority and Ambazonian guidelines must be allowed to open. If you don't, you will be fighting against the people, because that is the people's interest that you have to protect. Even in Ukraine, that they are having a contemporary war, schools have resumed under Ukrainian authority, of course. So we have to know that. So this is the type of person, this is the type of ideology that Jomba Akoro, you are unintendedly supporting, that the Makbarata and Scarfs are unintendedly supporting. You want people like Bitakola who have worked for somebody like Sofoncha. The fact that you can work for Sofoncha should show you that you are not smart enough to know the difference between good and bad. The fact that Alaji have been kidnapping our students and declaring in all his videos that he doesn't want school should not be a secret. That supporting somebody like that without challenging him and telling him the truth, you will just make him to do the same thing. It is not a secret. It's predictable that they will go around killing innocent civilians because they don't believe in the power of conversion, of having conversation. Because they don't have any ideas, they don't have common sense, they don't have IQ. That's why you see Chris Anu always resorts to absolute violence. Kill this one, kill this one, kill this one. With our own people, we cannot use disproportionate force. We cannot use excessive lockdown. We must be responsible in prosecuting this struggle. We don't have the right, we don't have impunity. Everybody that carries out crimes against our people will be judged, will be prosecuted. And anybody who supports and collaborates these activities with the knowledge that we have put available, the warnings that we have said, that a group without a political leadership, there are people who even say that in wise saying, it's in the Bible. An army without any mindset is a criminal. Our military people must be able to justify whatever they are doing. So if you are supporting an unjustified lockdown, then you are responsible for the actions carried out by the people who are not responsible, who are not reasonable. So in the Atlantic state, you have seen what they did. Let me show you the other video. They did not just kill our people, but they made video of them killing our people unjustifiably. So this is what you think 7 Kata, the Bafut people, will stand for?
Yeah, the Bafut 7 Kata this. The 7 Kata Bafut. Therefore, go down until they do the work I do, and the people that are against the rule.
fight this land. Go on, yes, or two. We don't beg with beg him. Anybody try? Anybody try? Anybody try? Anybody try?
Foolishness.
Anybody try? Anybody try?
So they came to my 6 Nkwen, that is below around the border with Bafut, and killed 2 civilians.
Now the people in the US, they against the rules and regulations for this land that they lose. Anybody try again, will get them. We let it because yes, people are now.
So
yes, about 47 Qataris.
You must, this is a crime against Ambazonia. You must use proportionality. You cannot, because somebody have breached a law, arrest somebody because he violates the traffic light. You cannot, the police will not arrest somebody who have violated traffic lights, or because you park your car in the wrong place, they will come and arrest you or burn down that car. They will give you a ticket. The police will be arrested. He will be kicked out of his job if he remove his gun and kill somebody because, hey, you are crossing the road. You are not crossing the road in the right place. I remove my gun and I shoot you, I kill you. And then some idiot called Mark Barata and the Scarf, John Bakoro, Kasin Ayangwe, they want to support that these people have the right to kill our civilians. They have the right to use disproportionate force. That alone shows that you people are not fit to lead Ambazonia. No matter your intention, if you can justify, my computer is keep on having indication of a virus attack. If you can support the killing of civilians in the name of enforcing a civil order, and you blame the people who dispute, who counter such order for the actions of those who are killing them, then you don't have the right to even judge Pobia. You have lost the right to speak for Ambazonian cause. Because Cameroon is doing exactly the same thing. You cannot be insulting Cameroon from doing something that you yourself, you are doing the same thing. Why do you think General Efang, he will arrest soldiers from the TTA when we had conflict with them and release them and just have conversation and release them? Why do you think the ADF did not go and shoot people in Santa when we arrested them for violating our lockdown? Why do you not think we didn't? Why do we not shoot at them and kill them? Because you must be proportional. Today, as we speak, they have burned down 14 bikes in Bafut. It will not stop anything. They have blocked Bali. They should do it to their own people. It is our people in Bali, but the people in Bali must reject it. Because if you allow hoodlums, gong head, coconut head with a sword, with a gun, who refuse to listen to sound knowledge, we are all finished. We must resist internal enemies like we resist the external enemies. Otherwise, this struggle will collapse. How can you justify that you are fighting for a people, yet you are going around to kill the same people? So you are doing this lockdown is for who? Is it not for these people? Why don't you, if the purpose of the lockdown was to stop Cameroon government school, why don't you go and stop the Cameroon government school that are there? 5 minutes walk from this place. Atiela is not far from here. These are my neighborhoods. These are places that I know very well. Why don't you go to Atiela and kill the Cameroon military there and burn the school? Some of those Cameroon government schools are in your areas. Go and destroy them. It is not justifiable. The ADF, when we declared our lockdown for Operation Sunshine, it was sabotage. We did not force it on the people. We came out and we tell our people that this lockdown have been sabotaged and these are what we were planning for. We accepted that it was okay it's okay when people don't accept your things, because you are fighting not for yourself but for them. If people reject you, what do you have to do? You have to accept it. You cannot force people to follow you. You have to convince them. When it is for the public interest, then you can prove that this is really for your interest. Then it will also affect your conduct, how you react to them. If people refuse orders that is meant for their public goods, you will see the way you'll be able to justify it. But this order they are giving for this lockdown has nothing to do with helping Ambazonia. It is actually, on the contrary, destroying Ambazonia projection of community school. It adds nothing. How many Cameroon government schools have been locked down because of this lockdown? That would have been open if without the so-called lockdown in their own area. You go to inside the Atlantic State, in a corner there, Kumba Road. This is a video. So if you can support this, if you can support this, then you are pretending that you are fighting to free Ambazonia. You are not. And you have been exposed by this. If you support this, that they should kill innocent civilian in a car that is marked as a civilian. And then the soldier have the guts to send message to me and say, Capo Daniel, you see, we don't go kill people. You see people, they don't kill them because of you. So you go and kill your own people. Foolishness, dullness. You go and kill your own people like this, claiming that you are killing them because somebody else, you are fighting power. You want to dominate. You want to hold your place. Hey, una come on. If not, so they were did their ground zero. And even you have this, my good friend here, the guy who is also, I think, is a Messianic Jew. I'm not sure. They call himself Tabalang Wat. He's there saying that he's supporting it. If your logic is that people who commit this murder are somehow justified by the people who tell the other people to disobey them, that means you have lost your brain. Bearings in your minds have lost. Your IQ is too low to speak in public. Don't speak anymore in public. If you think that you can blame other people for the criminal actions of these soldiers, don't even speak in public again. The Mark Barata and the scarf, don't even speak in public. Because you have defeated the whole argument of Ambazonian freedom. This struggle we are claiming, which is true, that it is a response to Cameroon brutality. And then now you are making the same justification that you are justifying Cameroon. If that is the thinking of your day. So Ambazonians will continue to go about their day-to-day activity. All the areas under our control will open their door. If you want to punish the people in your area, you punish them in your own area of the ARF. And I'm asking the people there to resist you and to make sure that they put you in order. Stop this your madness. I know that you have been deceived time and again by people like Chris Anu. Chris Anu came out today, I heard, was saying that he have right to take money. Criminals. So I understand you guys when you are... This is him.
If the leader receives a stipend, if the money is there, I will take it. I will take it.
So that is Chris Anu, a jobless pastor, saying that the leader should take money. If you raise money, you have to take the money. That kind of saying, say, go to chop number play the entire. People like that, I understand that they have deceived you. Sako Ikome came and opened his ARF. All of you ran there and ARF. Because the brother of Chris Anu was there, Oliver Leke, to say that he's the supreme. You guys came under him. You did not think whether he was a good man, whether he was a teacher, whether he could lead you people. Just because his brother was having a big mouth. Despite the fact that he came and was killing the tigers of Ambazonia, the ADF, you people did not mind. You just went and joined him. What happened? He turned and asked for Sagat to be killed. He turned and asked for no pity to be killed. He turned and asked for everybody to be killed. You have run him. You can no longer call yourself ARF because he is ARF is a product of Sako. Now Chris Anu have taken the ARF, have gone away. You cannot say that you're under Chris Anu also because you know he's a criminal. He's a corrupt individual. Even your runners, they are saying that they are not with the IG because they are ashamed of the scandals the IG have brought, the disgrace they have brought to us, disreputation internationally. So what do? You say that you have rejected diaspora leadership. You actually mean your leadership because the diaspora leadership of the AGOFC is also on the ground. And we don't force ourselves on you. So if you want to reject your leadership, the Sako and the rest, reject them. But the ADF leadership will remain in place and will continue to lead the ADF and provide leadership for the rest of the forces that will want to align with us. Stop your stupidity. Stop making ridicule of the whole Ambazonian man. Stop it. You are making Cameroon to look good. At the time when Cameroon have been defeated, you have come to provide enemy material for Cameroon to save face. I want to remind you of our people. This is our people in Bamenda. Let you know that they are brave. Don't come and make that your think that you can scare somebody. So this is the Bamenda people. This is our women in Bamenda. Last year. So these are the children, these are the women of Bamenda protesting against Cameroon. You cannot fight them. These women like this, you cannot win them. Come and try. Enter Bamenda without your gun. They will seize that gun from you and turn it against you. Idiot. You are fighting for who? The people for Bamenda and Ambazonia, they want independence. It's not only the soldiers. They want independence. It's not because of your gun you think you can force your idea, your own mindset on the mindset of the people. They want it in a sensible manner. You people started to use kidnapping for ransom to raise funds. You don't know the unintended consequences. Your actions are raising more spies for Cameroon, more blacklegs for Cameroon. So be sensible and come to your senses and stop this your madness. Align yourself with reasonable people and listen to the wise voice. I know even inside the 7 Kata, there are people who are wise because I talk to them every day. I know inside 7 Kata, you Alaji could never be made the leader there because they know your character, they know you are a thief. You're a common thief. You should stop that your nonsense. Stop it. The people you have killed in my 6 Nkwen, do you think next time the other soldiers who are going to come there, the 7 Kata who are going to come there, the family members of those people will just allow you to come around and go back? You have made them, you know, somebody there for some place they call them Sangler, where you don't do some bad for man where he talks here. Better everything, he will do everything. And when you kill somebody, you have crossed that line. I'm not so much worried about the seizing of property, burning of property, which is not even right because it is not justified in this case. I'm talking about the human life. And for anybody to ignore that and to try to support this unjustified lockdown, then you are worse than a Tangi Paul. You are worse than a Tangi Paul. So we will fight and we will defeat La Republique. La Republique use of stupidity amongst our people will fail. We call on our people to continue to observe the Monday Ghost Town and to continue to focus on community schools. We have shown our people, our teachers have shown our people that today, even when Lele Afri came in Bamenda to give flags to our students, the students rejected it, the teachers rejected it, and the parents have rejected it, and it has registered in the newspaper. We have to fight together with them. It is a collective struggle. No one faction can do it alone. Not even the military. We need the civilian more than the civilian needs us. So if you really want to fight for Ambazonia, even if you are a thief and you have found new meaning in your life, dedicate yourself to serve the people, to protect the people, to put the interests of the people and the country first. This is common sense. This is common sense. Why so? So, ladies and gentlemen, in Ambazonia, people are still sleeping. It's about 2 a.m. We will still continue to monitor things. Sorry, my green background is out. We'll continue to still monitor things, and we'll bring you updates in Bamenda. So we are done. I'll leave you with video images from Bamenda as life is going on normal, and life will continue to still go on normal today in Bamenda while we fight against Cameroon occupation. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Oops. How does this thing end? Goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.